Welcome to Story Chats at Inspy Romance. I'm Elizabeth Madry, and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
I'm Narelle Atkins.
I'm Valerie Comer, and I just woke the cat up. She's not happy about that.
So today we are talking about the fish out of water trope, and this is basically
Toni approves. Fish out of water means fish in her tummy. Yeah. Sorry.
One of the characters is put into a wholly unusual to them setting, and they have to struggle to adapt. Narelle, am I right that you've said this is one of your favorites?
Well, I think pretty much any international Christian romance fiction is fish out of water.
Sure.
Almost by definition. Yeah. So I do love it because every US book, every book that I read set in North America, as a reader, I'm a fish out of water because it's unfamiliar to me. So it's kind of like it's nearly like all romance I read has fish out of water in it because I'm the fish. Because as we talk about, readers bring their bit to the story, so I bring my bit as the fish.
Nice, excellent. Valerie, what do you?
That's the definition, though.
Yeah,
no, but it's my
definition. No, it's legit, though. I hear what you're saying. It's an exotic destination for you,
and it's uncomfortable maybe in places or just weird.
Sometimes you just squint at it and go, "What?"
Yeah.
Because I get that as well reading US-based books from Canada. I mean, I live very close to the border, and 3 of my sisters, my cat, those claws. 3 of my sisters are married to Americans, so it's not like it's not really fish out of water for me. But there are things, especially in some of the southern states, where I'm like, that wording. What?
Northerners feel that way about the South too.
Going with this. Yeah.
No, when my husband was stationed in South Carolina and in Georgia, both times, that's where we were for his Army career. And the most common thing for people to ask me was, "You're not from around here, are you?" So, so the South is its whole thing. And if you're not from the South, it is different. But they say that about the North too. So, do you love, or what about fish out of water, if there's more maybe that you enjoy, or if you trend toward maybe it not being your favorite, what makes it that way for you? Valerie?
I enjoy them most of the time. I don't seek them out, though. I don't think, at least when I tried seeking them out for this episode, I was like, how do you even search for this? I read through my list of books I'd read and went, do you think that's one? I looked up a bunch of them on Amazon, some of the older ones, and I'm like, no, not really. Kind of, maybe, sort of, I don't know. So it's hard to pinpoint, I think. But generally speaking, it is fun when one character finds themselves in a place where they really aren't at home and don't know what's going on. I mean, that adds a great fun level of conflict in the right hands.
Yeah. Narelle?
Well, I think that, fish out of water is when you have characters outside of their comfort zone doing something unfamiliar and different. And most stories have that, because something has to happen in a story, and often it's people doing something different. So, it's quite hard to define. And I think it's something that's intrinsic to the story. I will often write in book recommendations that it is fish out of water, but that's typically because a character is somewhere new and somewhere different to them. So a character returning to their hometown and the hero being a boy in their hometown is not fish out of water to me, unless they're doing something
changed so much that it no longer feels comfortable.
Yeah, or unless she's never gone fishing before and they go fishing and there's some disaster, and so that particular scene is fish out of water. Whereas when you're doing international settings, a setting that's foreign to you is really where I see fish out of water shines.
Excellent. I will say that I like it until I don't. This kind of leads into our next question, because I feel like often it can be overdone. And so you get the bumbling idiot factor of like with an international destination, for example. You have the heroine, usually plucky heroine, goes off to do mission work in Asia somewhere or wherever or wherever she's there. She's on vacation. And for some reason, she did absolutely zero studying of the culture and habits of the place where she's planned to visit. She didn't get dropped there accidentally. Like, she bought a ticket months in advance and packed her suitcase specifically to go here. But for some reason, she didn't realize that they drive on the other side of the road than what she's used to, or any of these things.
Or speak a
Like,
different language.
yeah. And then I'm like, this isn't fish out of water. This is, you're a moron.
Yes, it's too stupid to live on steroids.
Yeah.
Because if any logical person knows that this is different, that's not fish out of water. And although in a rom-com, I think it can be made to work in a rom-com, but then stuff has to happen that isn't cheesy and formulaic and stereotypical for it to work. It has to really have a unique spin on it, I think.
Yeah. So to me, it's a fine line there. I think of the movie, I know movie, sorry, Valerie, but
There she goes again.
there I go again. Leap Year, I think it's called Leap Year, where the girl goes to Ireland because on leap year, the women propose to the man. And so she goes for this big festival, and it's definitely fish out of water, but she's also just ridiculously stupid. And so it's just like, she only packed high heels and stuff like that. So she's walking down these little country roads in broken heels. And it's like, no, like, if you're going on a trip, you're gonna pack sneakers. You're going to. So yeah, I love it. And unless it gets to that point where I lose my ability to suspend my disbelief, I guess. And that
makes sense.
That's true with every book, I guess, really. If you can't continue to believe the story, you've lost your reader.
So I just want to read what I have in my notes. Anything can be overdone. I guess if it's trying to be romantic comedy, but the character is too stupid to be believed, it's overdone. Or if one character is condescending and makes fun of the other.
Yes. Yeah.
That's just icky.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who wants to read
It's
that
icky.
anyway?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, the neighbor, not the love interest, it's still, you don't need that kind of negativity in your life.
No.
True.
Just don't. All happy, happy, joy, joy.
All right. Well, let's talk fish out of water books. Valerie, do you want to go first?
Sure. I recently reread Princess in Hiding by Carol Moncado, and I feel like a lot of her books would fit this trope.
Yes.
Because she writes royalty, and not all of the love interests are royal or know anything about it.
Right.
So that adds some fun. In this particular one, Ginny thought she was just an ordinary Midwestern girl, youngest of 3 kids, and then she finds out that she was sent to the US as a newborn to keep her from being killed by her father. So good luck with that. So now it's time to meet her real mother, the crown princess of a tiny island nation that Ginny has really never heard of before. Oliver, a guy she met on the plane, helps look out for her. Turns out he's not royal, but he's a duke from another one of those tiny little nations that Carol has many of.
Yes.
And he's not a prince, he's a duke, but he knows a lot of things that she needs to know. So she's totally a fish out of water, a princess out of water, because she has no idea what's going on and she's struggling to catch up. So excellent.
Yeah, I agree that a lot of Carol's books totally fit that. That's a good call. Yeah. Narelle, what you got?
Well, I'm just going to do one thing and just mention the Trinity Lakes Romance series as a whole, because in most of the Trinity Lakes Romance series, when they first started releasing in 2023, one of the main characters is in a different place to home. Yeah. So I don't actually know. I know the ones that released in 2023, there were not 2 main characters that had been born and bred and were fully entrenched in that setting. And there were many Aussie heroes. There was a New Zealand hero. So I think that series as a whole, it has pretty much, if you like fish out of water and like seeing people from foreign lands visiting the US and adapting to small town life in Eastern Washington State at Trinity Lakes, then you would like that type of thing.
Yeah.
That's legit for sure. Yeah, it's a good example.
It is. So the first one that came to my mind is one that for a while was in every episode we discussed, and then we decided we needed to take a break from it, but I decided that it deserved a resurrection for this episode, and that is Then There Was You by
Yes.
Kara Eisen.
Yes, definitely.
Because you have an American heroine going to Australia to escape her life in the US and sort of try to start over, but she not only is she in a different country, but she's in a church setting that is completely not where she wants to be for her career. Just almost every element of the story has some reason why it is uncomfortable and not what she wants to be doing. So it is a very fish out of water story
That's
at
a
its
good
heart.
call on that one.
Yeah.
And it is always worth reading or rereading or rereading as many times as you feel like you need to. So
So it sounds like you should just get the audiobook and just put it on repeat
yes,
day,
sure.
night.
Yeah.
There you go.
What do you have next, Valerie?
I have a series as well, but specifically Child of Joy by Kimberly Ray Jordan. It's the first in the We Three Kings Christmas series from a couple of years ago. So it features triplet siblings from a wealthy family who try to help the less fortunate at Christmas time in honor of their dad who loved Christmas and who isn't there anymore. So when Hunter King comes across Carissa, a single mom, and her daughter, cue the tears, in a building that he's about to condemn and tear down, he begins trying to help them. Of course, he doesn't expect to fall in love with Carissa, and Carissa does not expect to fall in love with him. But going from rags to riches, I think, is definitely a fish out of water experience.
Definitely.
It sure seemed like it in this book anyways, and in the whole series. So she just really struggles to believe that this rich guy could really love her and her daughter. And there's just a lot of like the awe at the Christmas banquet ball thing, whatever it was, festival, and just like, wow, she just never dreamed of anything like this existed or that, outside of a movie. So so I think that series definitely qualifies.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Do you have another one, Narelle?
I'm just going to quickly mention 3 authors who have written books that I think have a lot of fish out of water elements. The first one is Marion Ueckermann. Pretty much her entire backlist has fish out of water because she's rarely, I mean, poor dear Marion who passed away in 2021. But anyway, we really miss having new releases from Marion. Yeah. Yes. But her pretty much every book she wrote was not set in South Africa, where she was from, and had characters from different countries. And she really excelled, I think, at the foreign settings and taking readers on just amazing experiences around the world. So go check out Marion's backlist because there's some fabulous stories there. Yeah. And if you've got some books in your Kindle or whatever, or on the bookshelf, go reread them because they're always fabulous. Yeah.
Poles Apart comes to mind on that one because we have a South African writer who's supposed to write a romance, and she's got a Christmas romance and she's got nothing. Plus it's like bristling hot in South Africa as she's getting ready to write this book. So she goes to Lapland and meets, Santa Claus, I guess. So she's definitely a fish out of water in that story. Good call. I'd forgotten about that book and how it would qualify.
Yes. Yeah. And then I'm also going to add MacArthur and Milla Holt. They're both authors that are based in the UK. Milla's got some books that are in Norway, and she's also been to Africa. So she's been to a few different places. And MacArthur excels at her books that are set in England and Scotland. And there's some fabulous reads in her backlist to go and explore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And both of them, I would agree, integrate that idea of fish out of water often in their stories for whatever reason.
I'm trying to remember the title of Milla's first book, but there was a pharmaceutical company and the guy goes to
Africa.
yes,
maybe.
Africa. I was trying to remember the
I'll try to
country, but
look it
it's
up
been a
and get
while
it.
since
Yeah.
I've read that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So look up the title of that one,
Yeah.
please, Beth, and put it in the show notes.
All right, so my next one is The Cowboy's Convenient Marriage by Valerie Comer. Because she's like, I didn't do Fish Out of Water, but you have Spencer from Texas, big city Spencer, with his little low slung Corvette driving on the bumpy ranch roads, where he has come to Montana to get away. His, this is how all good Fish Out of Water starts, right? Is you need to get away from something. And so he has been designated the heir for this ranch, and so he needs to get away. So he's going to go see what there is to see. But I didn't write her name down because I knew
Carmen.
I wouldn't forget it. But Carmen, thank you. Carmen
Welcome.
is.
I remember her.
Yeah, good. Carmen is there. She took care of the previous owner, who was her father-in-law.
Spencer's great uncle.
Yeah, Spencer's
and Carmen's deceased husband's great uncle. They were
great uncle.
guys
Okay.
or cousins.
Okay, they're cousins. I couldn't remember which relationship. Anyway, she's been there taking care of him in his old age, and wants to inherit the ranch for her children, and feels like she deserves to. And Spencer stands in the way, and he might be from Texas, but he knows nothing about ranching, and so she just would like to get the city slicker out of there, so that she can get what's owed her. And it's a really fun marriage of convenience, Fish Out of Water, because Spencer has no idea. Like he goes and buys designer boots. Like he's not smart. So
I didn't even think of them when I was going through my
but
story.
I love that one. It's I can't say it's my only favorite because I have too many Valerie books that are favorites, but this is one of them.
I
it's
recall
Cowboy
it being a ton of fun to write. Maybe I like writing fish out of water, fishes out of water.
Yeah.
Whatever they are.
Do you have another one, Valerie?
If I can toot my own horn.
Yeah.
Then I would go with Amethyst Attraction by Moi. We have Harper Satterfield, who's a poor little rich girl from Atlanta, who finds herself in small town Montana for the summer. Her dad put her in charge of a project, building a marina, and she has no idea what hit her. She thinks that little snowstorm was the worst blizzard in the history of mankind, and so she's out of water in rural Montana, but she's also out of water in that she's not really a believer, and she finds herself volunteering to help in the church office when the receptionist has a heart attack. And so there she is, really Fisher ring out of water, as she tries to navigate this church thing while trying not to fall in love with the youth pastor. So yeah, I thought that was the one I came up with of my books that
Excellent.
seemed the most to me.
Do you have any more, Narelle?
No, that will do me. I think I'm very done.
Excellent.
Very done. Hey.
I have maybe two that I'm gonna do. Because I was just sitting here thinking, actually when Valerie mentioned Princess in Hiding, it would be, I think, criminal not to mention To Win a Prince by Toni Shiloh.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a similar premise.
Yeah. So that one needs to get on there, because it's it's this princess who doesn't know she's a princess, who has to go to her kingdom and queendom, yeah, from New York City to an island off the coast of Africa is quite a large change. And then I was also going to mention Falling on Main Street by Tara Grace Ericson. This is more city girl goes to the country kind of
I
thing.
remember this one.
And she's been this high-powered executive recruiter. She gets framed for some nefarious business doings. So she goes to hide out in the small town, but she has no idea how to live in a small town. And so you do get that fish out of water sense, you know, going from the city where nobody knows their neighbors to the small town where the neighbors, you know what you ate for dinner last night. And so it's a very nice small town, charming fish out of water romance as well.
That one definitely fits too.
Yeah. All right. Does that sum up our books? I think it probably does.
I don't have any further notes that
Okay.
definitely need
All
to
right.
be spoken.
Well, we would love to know what fish out of water stories you have read and enjoyed. You can leave comments on our YouTube channel. However, sadly to say, this is going to be the last episode of Story Chats. Yeah, life is busy. And
I have noticed.
the three of us have been chatting behind the scenes and with trying to get all the books read that we want just to read in our own life, plus all the books that we're trying to read for Story Chats. There are things like groceries that are not getting purchased and other little daily jobs that are falling by the wayside, like, for example, writing books. And that really is our primary focus for the three of us is to produce more books.
Yes.
And I know I have loved every episode of this and enjoyed it greatly. And were I able to magically create more time in the day, I would totally stomp my foot until they agreed to keep recording. But
That's how you would choose to use your extra hours, eh? Just like
absolutely.
that.
Well, reading, reading and then
Yeah.
recording episodes.
Reading's legit.
Yeah. So if either of the two of you have something you'd like to say, now would be the time.
Do you want to go first, Valerie, since you're in charge and organize everything?
Oh, I'm not in charge of Story Chats. That's been Beth's thing. Yeah, hard decision. As we're just looking at our individual lives and what all we've got going on. Like Beth said, I never forget groceries, however, because I really like food quite a lot. But other things do go by the wayside. And this has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed chatting with Beth and Narelle, and I've got a kick out of you guys' feedback. And I know you guys are going to miss seeing Cooney, and she's not going to miss you. I'm sorry, but maybe she is. I don't know. She's a cat. What can we say? Hard decision, but it just seemed like it was time to just sit down and go, how can we simplify life and keep our core values intact? And sadly, Story Chats after 3 years is going away.
Well, I'll add my 2 cents. I have absolutely loved doing Story Chats, and it's kind of like we've done a 3-year apprenticeship in terms of learning how to actually do podcasting and videos and stuff. So I'm really challenged. I mean, every door that closes, a window opens. And so I'm really excited I've got all these skills I've now gained and all these lovely authors I've met, and I've loved chatting with you guys. And I can actually look sort of to the future and say, down the track, I can do something else. And you might see me on YouTube, or you might see me podcasting somewhere. At the moment, I've got a lot of life stuff happening. So I'm the person who hasn't done any writing for 3 months as we record this, because I've been too busy. So you can blame me for that. I'll completely own that. And I could not keep up with the responsibilities that go along with the recording schedule. And I'm thoroughly going to enjoy not getting up at 6 a.m. in the middle of winter to record podcasts and YouTube episodes. Yeah. So I hope all our readers have loved the journey with us, and YouTube always lives forever. So the YouTube archives are there to explore. Pardon?
Scary thought.
Yeah, no, YouTube does live forever, and it's all well organized. We've got 150 episodes, and I actually can't think of any topics we haven't talked about. And I think we've really gone through so much. There's not a lot of
have.
CCR left to really go into. It's very thorough what we've actually done. And I really hope that if you're listening to this episode in a year or 2 years or 5 years or whenever, that you will go back into the archives and have a dig around and find some really good books to read that have solid Christian faith content, where you've got authors who believe in Jesus as their Lord and Savior, as their core values that come through in the story, because that's what we've always been about. We've always been about talking about good, solid Christian romance that is, you can pick up a book that we've talked about and pretty much trust that you're not going to be led astray with any of the faith content in it as well. So thank you for listening to us, because it really is a privilege that you turn on your television or computer monitor or phone or whatever and actually invest your valuable time in listening to us chat away and ramble and all the rest of it. So thank you to our listeners. Absolutely. You're very valued by us.
We have truly appreciated you.
Yep, absolutely. Yes. So with that, we will say for our final time, thank you everyone for joining us today at Story Chats. We would still love to hear your thoughts in the comments on YouTube or the Facebook page, just in case, get that last little shot in there. There's no point in subscribing or hitting the notification bell this time, though, sadly. We will not see you next week, but please don't forget to fall in love with a good book. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone, from Cooney and me.